Hi, so in today's episode of DIY Thrift Transformations, I'm going to be making these two men's shirts into smaller baby tees, if you will. So I'm kind of laying them across the cream shirt to see if it's like a good size for them, and I think it is. So the process that I thought of was to just lay them flat on the floor. I have a very tight space to work with. Like 90% of my cutting and my laying out patterns and stuff is done on my floor just because, I don't have a huge room. So this is me lining up the sleeves, and basically all I did was line them up to the best of my ability and then pin down the baby tee on top of the shirt that I wanted to make smaller. I line it up like that, and then I cut across, just leaving about a 1/2 inch of seam allowance. And that's about it for the sleeve. So I did the same thing on the other side of the shirt. And the way I did it was I just laid the sleeve that I just cut out from the other side on top of this side, pinned it down, or I don't even know if I pinned it actually, and I cut it out, and boom, there you go, 2 sleeves. And now just for the body of the shirt, I'm gonna lay the baby tee on top of it, and then as flat as possible, like pin down the top shoulder seam and the side seams. Sorry, my dogs are fighting in the background, and yeah, that's what's happening in the back. But yeah, just cutting it with approximately 1/2 inch of seam allowance on both sides. And there you go, just like that. And to get the same exact shape for the other shirt, I laid the shirt that I just cut out on top of that shirt and then cut it out right up against that same seam allowance amount. Just a reminder, my dogs are fighting. I laid across the polka dot sleeve on top of the striped sleeve, cut it out to that size, then laid that sleeve on top of the other side of the striped shirt and cut it out. And now what I'm doing is pinning the side seams of the polka dot shirt together so that I can just sew a straight stitch along that seam with, I want to say I ended up doing a 1/2 inch of seam allowance, but I honestly don't remember off the top of my head. I feel like it was 1/2 inch. It could have been slightly smaller than a 1/2 inch even, or maybe slightly bigger. I don't remember. This was like, I did this like weeks ago. For straight stitches, I always do 0 for the width, and then for the tension, I like to keep it between 5 and 4 just as a standard tension level for straight stitch. So that's what I did. And then for this shirt, instead of doing an overlock stitch over the seams, I pressed them down like that and then did a straight stitch in the middle of the strips of fabric, if that makes sense, and it probably doesn't. And then this is me pinning in the sleeve. If you look closely, you'll kind of see what I'm doing for the sleeve placement. But honestly, these sleeves ended up being a little too big, so I had to, after I sewed them down, I had to take them out and cut them to a better size and then re-sew them. And this is how it came out in the end. Very skin tight. You know, it's really getting in the grooves of my back rows. Yes, back rows. But, yeah. That's how you know you made it the right size, when it just goes right in those back rows. And the good thing about these men's shirts is they're long enough to wear as a dress if you're skinny enough, which clearly I'm not. But, you know, life takes balance. And thank you for your time. Like and subscribe if you like what you're watching.